On one hand, it's hard to sum up Leon's value to this program. On the other hand, the numbers speak for themselves. He's the all-time wins leader in Bronco basketball history. He's also taken Boise State to the NCAA tournament half of the 10 times they've been in school history. Earlier today, I had the chance to sit down one-on-one with Director of Athletics Jeramiah Dickey and talk about Leon's impact on the program. Jeramiah Dickey, saw you sitting courtside during shoot-around yesterday, looking as proud as could be. When you took over this job, why did you make it a goal to support basketball unlike any other athletic director before at Boise State?
Yeah, I think any new AD comes into a situation and assesses, what they're dealing with. And basketball was one of those things that rose very quickly. Prior to actually arriving in Boise, I'd already had a number of calls. Leon, I think, was the first head coach I spoke to. The more and more I connected with people in the industry, the more I heard about him as a coach, as a person. So I was already really excited to get here. And then once you see Extra Mile and the potential, and I start looking at the season ticket numbers and how we're investing or not investing in many ways, it very much rose early on that we could do something special. Obviously, we had a brand, and it was much of it was tied to the blue, but we cannot be a one program department. We have 18 sport programs, and I knew I needed to get men's basketball and ultimately women's basketball to rise to match what football had been doing over the course of 25 years.
To be back at the NCAA tournament for a third consecutive year, what goes through your mind? How do you sum up your reaction to that accomplishment? Because it's never been done before, even close in school history.
I'm so proud. You hear me say a lot, it takes a team. It's not just Leon, who I love. It's not just our student athletes, who I care very much about. It's not just our staff. It's our external pod. It's all these pieces working together to do something epic. And to be able to do that in our first 3 years, to make 3 consecutive tournaments, it just makes me really proud. As a leader, your job is to define a direction and the vision for the department and program, and empower your people to go. And you're seeing that play out in action. And what makes me even more excited is not just getting there for 3 years, but what about 4? What about 5? Right? We've gone to 27 straight bowls, in football. Why not? Why can't we do that in basketball?
The Mountain West this year, arguably the best year the league has ever had. They put 6 teams in the NCAA tournament. Did you think we'd be sitting in Dayton, Ohio today?
I not only did I not think we would be sitting in Dayton, Ohio, I didn't think Colorado State would either. Our conference is strong, and the data is out there in terms of the quad 1, quad 2 wins, and I think every team was above 500 in our non-conference, which is remarkable. Every year we're navigating a human component, and that's okay. I'm not one to cry over spilt milk. I'm so grateful, Jay, that we're here for a third year. That says a lot about who we are and where we're going. It says a lot about our conference, and to get 6 teams, in the conference into the tournament. I believe Gloria and our collective team is doing a really good job, and we're going to continue to promote. We're going to continue to pivot and do what we need to do to create the strongest brand possible.
How many years have you been in college athletics?
I believe my first year was 2001.
So over 2
as an intern.
Over 2 decades, though.
Yeah.
Have you ever came across a person like Leon Rice?
No, is the answer. I love Leon. How he cares for his student athletes, his staff, how he loves on Bronco Nation. I think you see that, his personality, you see the team take that on. And it doesn't surprise me when we have Tyson and all these guys come out after a loss and signing autographs and hugging and high-fiving, some of our fans. It means more to him, and he's a player's coach, and I appreciate that about him, and I think our team has become that, and and he's a testament to all of this. I'm not doing it. Cody, our collective team, it's Leon's a big part of it.
He's accomplished so much here. I mean, as influential as anybody that's ever held his position at Boise State before. Not to put you on the spot here, but could one day we see his name on the court at Boise State?
Yeah, I'm not sure he gets enough credit for what he walked into and how over time he's built this up. Hearing some of the stories, prior to me arriving, where he was having to ride a horse across campus and sell tickets, and he was doing everything in his power to build this program up, and now with the collective team helping, and being a part of that. Yeah, in the future, can I see something like that where his name is on a court? Absolutely. He's already surpassed the Hall of Fame piece. but he's approaching with many other Broncos in our history, that Mount Rushmore. That's something I hope he appreciates, and it's definitely something that I'm grateful for, and I hope Bronco Nation is too.